It is my pleasure today to introduce a tremendous resource that AT&T has. James Kettner, he's AT&T Channel Director of Cloud Computing. He has been doing this for over 20 years, networking, design engineering. He literally speaks around the world about AT&T as a service model, and he helps CEOs grow their business, generate revenue. So it's my pleasure to introduce James today to the stage.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate the kudos. As Lisa said, I'm the Director for Cloud Adoption for AT&T. I work with businesses of all sizes, all diversities, all channels. One of the biggest things that we really do think is that cloud computing is going to be the next big thing for really the small business enterprise. And as I listened, I heard a lot of diversity happening throughout the conversations, not only in the introductions, but also as you talked about the certification aspects. And one of the key challenges that I will say is don't look at just being a supplier to AT&T, also look at being a provider to AT&T as the others. Some of the stuff I want to go over today, what is cloud computing? We'll kind of give you some introductions to cloud computing. I know there's a lot of terminology out there and a lot of people have different aspects as to what it does. How the cloud's going to make your business easier, and how you're going to be able to sell more because it did make your business easier. That's one of the key facets that cloud really brings. What is being cloud efficient? How can the efficiencies in our business really be there? And then, are you ready for the cloud? Is your business ready to grow? Are you ready to market in the cloud and make that a persona that's really going to happen and increase your sales and revenue? And then lastly, we'll go over the cloud top 10. We call it the top 10 because these really are the top 10 things you want to take a look at when you're doing cloud computing. So are you sure this is how we get data into the cloud? It's an interesting aspect, and we all have data. Whether we are using data or whether we are supplying data or means of data, if you're certified and you're going through the primes or the subs or a secondary sub, you have a means that is there. So what is cloud computing? Cloud computing, if you think about it, is really an interesting concept. We all use electricity in here. We all use PG&E. We all use the telephone company, and we pay a monthly bill. And we have service levels that are up and down with that monthly bill. Well, cloud computing as a service is a means of having high-end utility computing available to you on a per-hour basis. So whether you're a small business or you're a Fortune 50, it doesn't matter. You have resources that are readily available to you on demand as you need them, pay for what you use. The same way we do with the electricity company. We think it's the best model specifically for small businesses in that you have an ability now to compete with the larger pocketbooks. If you are moving in and trying to come into this new world, these aspects of availability that are on a pay-per-use type basis allow you to compete with those Fortune 50s or businesses that are even competing against you trying to get onto those contracts once they've been certified. The brave new world, Office 365, we know licensing is expensive. We see, Zoho if you're in the CRM aspects. You've got Google, as somebody mentioned about Gmail. Oxygen Cloud if you're a business that needs document sharing, Salesforce, etc. The aspects of not only the software as a service that we see in cloud computing, but also being able to buy a computer for an hour in the cloud to do your processing. Maybe you've got advertising you need to get done, but you don't have the means to really produce that right here and now to go out to a CDW or an IBM or an HP or Best Buy, any of them, to buy that hardware. It's now available to you on demand, no contract needed. You have a credit card, put it in, and it's there for you. Really a great aspect to move into the brave new world, and as you think about marketing yourself, Really think about how the cloud utilities can help you market. So how is it so? It really is a model for enabling on-demand usage. We have built, as well as other providers all around, have built cloud technology that allows for this pay-per-use model. It was born and bred kind of out of the Silicon Valley. If you take a look at Facebook, you take a look at MySpace and those were cloud computing apps that were available on demand to you. Facebook took a little different means in that they did advertising. We've taken it a step back and said we're not going to provide you the software, but we'll provide you the hardware so that you can do what your business needs. National Institutes of Standards and Technology, government-based industry, has certified what the cloud demands are. It is configurable computing resources that are rapidly provisioned. By rapidly provisioning, it's usually under 15 minutes you have a new server up and running, as well as minimal management. We take care of all the support, the hardware, everything else. So that's what cloud providers do. But they allow you that means, once you're in this utility base, to be bigger than what you are. If you think about the certification, you now can be a larger company because you have a data center that is available to you on demand. You have resources that are available to you. This allows you to grow your business, compete for larger contracts. And that's really the goal of cloud computing, is to be out there and be bigger. You don't have to have the millions of dollars sitting in your office that's running and utilizing power and constraints. You now have on-demand resources for whatever contract length. So the investment dollars actually go down. Can it make my business easier? You know, AT&T is a large company, and I'm not going to go into sales pitches, but to manage a data center takes a lot of employees, and it takes a lot of capital, and it takes a lot of round-the-clock support. This does not. This is on demand, turn it on, power it off. You don't have to keep that staff on site. You have a staff behind you that you're paying in that utility model, just as you do like electricity. You don't have to worry about if the lines coming into my house are good or not. That's somebody else's job. I just want to ensure that it's there for me when I need it. And that is really how cloud can make your business easier. One of the other things is as Lisa alluded to, was, you know, the disappearance of payphones. Well, everybody has got a mobile phone. But by a show of hands, how many small business owners in here have an application that is deployable on that mobile phone? You know, this is a way of getting yourself and marketing yourself with resources that will allow you to put those apps together. There's free sites out there. Apps Bar is one. We have services. Other providers have services. But think about new marketing means in the new technology age. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind in these certification areas because you're not going to get as noticed. We want to know when we're out there and we do a business search that you are who you are. Whether that's an hour of spending doing all new marketing material, the classy flyers. Well, you have a means now to pay for an hour of graphics aspects that are out there. There's a bunch of free software that's available on the internet, but now you have the hardware that you can pay for an hour to have it on and do what you need to do to make yourself bigger. And that's really how cloud is really going to utilize the small business industry. One of the other things that you'll see in cloud services, or as a service, I really hate the terminology cloud because we can think of it as rainy or we can think of it as sunny. But really, if you look at it as a service, there are many, many service aspects out there, whether it's IT support for an hour, whether it is hardware support, whether it is graphic design support. The model is morphing faster than we would have ever imagined 10 years ago. This really is the small business model. And I talk a lot with small businesses in general because that's part of how I help develop products to take back to AT&T. So when you look at cloud, look at, you know, a $5 an hour server being utilized, how much revenue is that bringing into your business? Don't think that you can't compete in that RFP contract, because you now have a means that's available to you to put together to be competitive. You You might already be using cloud. I'm sure everybody in here has used Facebook or seen Facebook. By majority, YouTube, Skype, LinkedIn. But before all of these, how many people were using cloud? You know, actually, all of your hands should have went up if you have a mobile phone. You guys pay per minutes for use. You get voicemail that grows as you go. If I don't like it, I scale it down because I didn't use as much. It's a pay-per-use model. It's one of the oldest cloud models that has been around. And that's really how cloud kind of got its next marketing start, was these models of utility-based are far better than me being a hardware provider trying to sell hardware every year when I've saturated a market. So it's all about efficiency. It's really about making your business efficient. If you have the means, whether you're a SOHO sitting in a home office, or whether you're in a small office or you're trying to get out from the SOHO to the office, as long as you have connection to the internet, you have connection to a cloud service. So I don't care if you're sitting in a Starbucks using their free Wi-Fi, if you're in the airport, everything is readily accessible 24/7, 365. And that efficiency is what's going to allow you to be more efficient in your business. You don't have to go try chasing down now resources and support. It's already provided for you in a very utility model. The concepts of the bees, the reason we use the bees is you now can branch out of California. You have cloud services worldwide. You now can make your market bigger. So don't think that you'll always be a small business. You can grow to whatever level you want, and the resources are there that I don't have to go to the bank now and ask for $1 million because I got to build out a data center that I may only use 4 hours a day for a company because that's what the prime wanted. I now have the support model that's available, whether it's telephony services, data services, or software. They're all in the cloud. They're all readily available to you in this utility model. So one of the other things that has been the real challenge, and especially in the small business, is elasticity. The economy has shown how elastic a business must be. We were up, we were down, market crunches, et cetera, all have an impact as to the dollar resources. The reason cloud allows you to this elastic ability is you may be using a lot of cloud services one month, but the next month it goes down, and you can turn that down. There's no commitment contracts. This is really as you use it. So as your business is going through its elasticity cycles, it's allowing you to understand and grow to that means of what the market dictates. And that's really one of the best concepts that has come out of this is I don't have to invest and then all of a sudden I'm sitting on investment dollars and my profit dollars went down. I can be as elastic as the market is and be as competitive in that elastic market because my overhead scales to what I need it to do. Don't be resistant. I know a lot of fear, and I talk to a lot of different generations. I grew up as computer mainframes came in, so I'm kind of immersed in it. I know there's older generations that are a little fearful of it. I talk to people every day about technology. Don't be afraid. Honestly, if you don't have a web presence, if you don't have aspects that are out there to market, you're doing yourself a very disjustice to your business. There were different businesses on here. I saw tax law, I saw web, I saw entertainment, I heard real estate. You know, get out there on the social medias. Get out there tweeting, get out there doing Facebook. Use these cloud technologies that are available to you. Build your network, advertise. That's the freest advertising you will ever find. If I send out, somebody was in makeup, but if I send and I hit a tweet to a bunch of lists, and if I get 5 inquiries from that, that's more than what I got on a free means. You've got to use those advantages to promote your business. And we think the cloud will really help the small industries revive middle America. That's really what it's about. It's not about the Fortune 1000s. This is about small business taking back small business and being competitive in the small business industries. You know, I heard about the suppliers. You really got to look at AT&T not only as a supplier of business, but we're also a consumer of business. I use the makeup one. We have a very large internal production company that most people don't know about. So when you're looking at supplier diversity and you're talking with these supplier diversities, not only are you asking for what work are they getting, but you should also ask what work they're putting out there. Because there's a lot of stuff that you may not know about because it's just an RFP that was issued. Internally, it may be you're on a supplier chain that you have means that you could fulfill not only to the external, but to the internal as well. So are you ready? Do you have a plan to grow your business? I've done small business. I haven't worked for the telco all my life. I've been in and out of businesses for as long as I can remember. But if you do not have a means for 5 years out, and I'm not talking your business plan that you did, if you haven't revisited that business plan and done your next 5-year modeling, you're not ready. You need to get ready, the certifications, the understandings of what new technologies have come to promote you further and further into the next 5 to 10 years. And you should be revisiting that every couple years because technology changes. And technology is the newest promotion materials that are out there. I don't care if you're doing construction or if you're running the taco truck, etc. It doesn't matter. Everybody has to know that you're doing it. And these are the means to get you out there to let you know. So really, look to plan first. There's a lot of companies out there that can help you plan. You know, that's the main goal, is really start to understand where you want to be 5 years from now. And that may be monetary. It may be in the nonprofit organizations where, you know, the BEC wants to be 5 years from now. They all have to look at how they're going to motivate and create and start to fill these rooms, whether it's from an invitational that they've done or whether it's you selling products to the masses. So now that you're ready, how are you going to get there? You've got to work with the people out in cloud technologies. If you haven't made contacts or even looked at a Twitter account outside of personal, you really should be. Look at the amount of advertising that's going on the internet. There's a lot of free banner advertising. There's all kinds of means that are available. So work with somebody that knows internet business. There was a web developer in here that I saw. People like that. You have your own internal network. All of you here share a common interest, or you wouldn't be here. Use the resources that are available. Bartership is one of the biggest commodities that goes unused today. And cloud is just another means for allowing barter. It sets you guys up to be successful. And if we're not collaboratively successful, then we all fail, because it gets harder and harder to keep growing. So use the resources readily available, get to the cloud, use what's out there to promote yourself. For those of you that are looking for a mobile app, there's a website called AppsBar. It does free mobile apps. They will run it through iTunes for you. You will be on Apple's store in one of the biggest promotion markets that are available. It's just another branding means. So you want to be able to showcase yourself out to the environment. Whether the PUC is looking up a supplier, one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to run myself is, who are you? You know, if I get a Gmail account, you're right. I'm going to go, well, it's a small business. Am I going to turn you away? No, but I've got to do more research. And how do I find out about you? That's the reason why all of these materials are so important. So the cloud top 10. Top 10 things to do in the cloud. 1, don't be fearful of it. Number 2, look at your competition out there and see who's using it. Who is competitive to you that has a marketing edge on you. Number 3, as you're looking at your RFPs, don't think that you can't compete. really understand that there is a means out there that does not require upfront investment to respond. If you have the determination in the heart, you have the goals to go into it. Number 4, work with the supplier diversity companies that are out there. A lot of them have experience as well. The programs that they run, the BEC runs, AT&T supplier diversity has contacts in the cloud. I'm sure California State, they use cloud as well. So there are means to get out there. Number 5, one of the biggest concepts is don't forget the freebie stuff. If you want to make yourself readily accessible, it's the easiest means to not just 30 people, but millions of people. Don't be afraid to post a commercial on YouTube. It's the easiest thing to do. You see tape recording going on right here, and I'm sure the BEC has videos that are out on YouTube. Your business should as well. It's the freest advertising you're going to get. Number 6, barter. Make sure you guys use each other. You may not be in the same industry, but you guys got the same goals and the same concepts. If tax advice can help a web person who can help the tax provider, it's a win-win. Don't think that you always have to pay for something. Number 7, keep coming to events everywhere. They're advertised. I don't care if it's the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I don't care if it's the BEC, if it's AT&T, if it's Cloud World. Don't think that you're not big enough to get on that sheet to go there. You will learn something new and come away with new means to be more successful. Number 9 is one of the biggest concepts, really get certified. If you want to play with the big boys and you're not already, get out there. But in that certification, you now have a means to address more of what you do. You have new ways to grow your business with cloud technology, software development, etc., that wasn't readily accessible to you. So while you're doing website development, well, now I have a means that I can do mobile apps. I have a means that I can promote myself in a marketing material. I have more to grow from. So when you're certifying through the companies, make sure that you're really thinking about where all I need to be listed in. All those codes that the government puts out there, you want to make sure that are on your certification. And lastly, don't overspend. I take it from experience. Spinning up hardware, software, etc., is a very, very costly means. If you have the ability to use a utility model, use the utility model. It's going to save a lot of heartache down the road. When you don't have capital expenditure, but you only have operational expenditure, your business looks a lot more profitable. Whether it's to a prime or to one of the major providers, you're going to look more profitable. And that's one of the aspects that are taken into account. With that, that's all I have. AT&T's motto, and I promised I wouldn't do this as a sales pitch, but it is one thing I really truly believe in, not only from AT&T, but as a personal business owner myself, is really rethink possible, and we think cloud will allow you to rethink possible. Any questions? Oh, did I go from 7 to 9? Yeah. Yeah. If you want to do number 8, it's really that technology changes so fast, and you're going to utilize it. But really, technology changes, as you've seen, from payphones to mobile phones to smartphones to tablets. You have to be able to be agility in the same means. I don't care if you're in makeup or if you're in web or if you're in taxes, law, they all change, and you have to be able to move as fast as it does.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.